Have you ever felt that nagging guilt after a moment of pleasure, wondering if it's controlling you rather than the other way around? Imagine being able to break free from that cycle and reclaim your life with the ancient wisdom of Stoicism. Today, we're uncovering powerful insights that will not only help you understand the real impact of masturbation on your mind and body, but also provide you with practical steps to regain control. This isn't just about abstaining. It's about embracing a more fulfilling, empowered life. Stay tuned, because what you learn today could transform your perspective and set you on a path to true freedom. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment below about how Stoicism has helped you in your life. Let's get started. 1. Introduction. Masturbation is often talked about as something completely natural and normal, something that everyone does. But have you ever wondered if there's a limit to how much is healthy? How many times a day can you do it before it becomes a problem? In today's world, we're often told that as long as something feels good, it's okay to do. But what if this habit that seems harmless could be trapping you in ways you don't even realize? Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to control our desires and live a disciplined life, has a lot to say about this. Stoicism encourages us to ask ourselves, are we masters of our desires, or are we being mastered by them? The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, believed that true freedom comes not from doing whatever feels good, but from controlling our urges and choosing a path of virtue. They would argue that indulging in constant pleasure might actually weaken our self-control and make us less capable of handling life's challenges. Understanding what happens to our brain, both scientifically and philosophically, when we give in to these habits, can open our eyes to the real impact of our choices. This video will dive into the science of how masturbation affects your brain and what Stoicism teaches us about gaining control over these impulses so you can make more powerful and mindful decisions in your life. 2. Historical perspective. The view on masturbation has changed a lot throughout history. In ancient times, it was seen as something wrong, even harmful, especially for men. People believed that a man's seed was precious, and wasting it was a way of losing strength and energy. It was thought that if you were spending too much time on these activities, you were losing focus on more important things, like family, work, or personal growth. For women, the fear was that if they found pleasure on their own, they might not need men, which was a big deal in a society that valued traditional roles. This idea of pleasure being dangerous is also seen in Stoicism. Stoics like Seneca warned against letting pleasures control us. They believed that when we allow our desires to take over, we lose our ability to think clearly and make wise decisions. From their perspective, life wasn't about running away from pleasure, but about not letting pleasure run your life. Even though today's medical experts say that masturbation is normal and natural, the Stoics would ask, is it helping you grow stronger or making you weaker? They would argue that constantly giving in to these desires could lead you away from self-discipline and focus, which are key to living a life of purpose. 3. Scientific insight. When we talk about masturbation from a scientific perspective, it's important to understand what happens in our brain when we engage in this activity. Masturbation causes the brain to release a chemical called dopamine, which is known as the feel-good hormone. Dopamine is responsible for making us feel pleasure, happiness, and a sense of reward. This is why we feel relaxed and satisfied afterward. However, while this might seem harmless at first, there is a hidden risk. The more we experience this dopamine rush, the more our brain gets used to it and it starts craving it more often. This process can lead to a cycle where we want to keep feeling that pleasure again and again. From a Stoic perspective, this is where the problem begins. The Stoics believed that giving in to our pleasures without control weakens our willpower and makes us slaves to our desires. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that true strength comes not from seeking comfort, but from facing challenges with discipline. The science shows us that while our brain may trick us into thinking we need this pleasure, Stoicism teaches us to rise above these urges and train our mind to seek what is good for us, not just what feels good. 4. The trap of addiction. The real danger with masturbation lies in its addictive nature. What starts as a way to relieve stress or find momentary pleasure can quickly turn into a habit that's hard to break. Over time, the brain starts to demand more and more dopamine to feel the same level of pleasure. This means that what satisfied you once no longer has the same effect, leading you to seek it out even more frequently. This cycle can be harmful because it can lead to a lack of self-control, making it difficult to focus on more important aspects of life, like personal growth, relationships, or achieving your goals. Stoics like Epictetus taught that real freedom is found in self-mastery, in the ability to control your desires instead of being ruled by them. He believed that when we let our cravings take over, we become slaves to our impulses, losing our power to live with intention and purpose. Addiction to masturbation can have similar effects. It can take away your mental clarity, your focus, and your energy. The Stoics would say that every time you give in to this craving, you're letting a small part of your willpower weaken, making it harder to be the master of your own life. Recognizing the trap of addiction is the first step toward breaking free from it. 5. Consequences of losing control. When we lose control over our desires, especially to habits like masturbation, it can have serious consequences on our mental and emotional well-being. The more we give in to these impulses, the more we train our brain to seek instant gratification, making it harder to stay disciplined in other areas of life. Over time, this can lead to a lack of motivation, reduced self-esteem, and even a sense of frustration or guilt. The Stoics believed that losing control over one's desires was like handing over the keys to your own life to your impulses. This teaches us that while we might not always control the situations around us, we can always control how we react to our urges and desires. By losing control to habits like masturbation, we also risk damaging our relationships, our focus on our goals, and our overall sense of purpose. Instead of being masters of our own destiny, we become prisoners of our own making. The Stoics encourage us to recognize these consequences and to use our reason and willpower to steer ourselves back on the right path. 6th, personal inspirational story. Let me share with you a personal story of transformation inspired by Stoic teachings. There was a person who once struggled deeply with the habit of compulsive masturbation. Every time they gave in to this urge, they felt a brief sense of relief, but were quickly overwhelmed by guilt, frustration, and a loss of self-respect. They knew they were losing control over their own actions, which affected their confidence, their ability to focus, and their relationships with others. One day, they decided to turn to the wisdom of the Stoics to find a way out. They began to study the words of Epictetus, who said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." They realized that to regain their sense of self-worth and freedom, they needed to take control of their own mind and actions. Through the practice of Stoic principles like mindfulness, self-discipline, and self-reflection, this person slowly started to change their mindset. They learned to acknowledge their urges without giving in to them and to redirect their energy toward activities that built their character and purpose. Over time, their need for momentary pleasure diminished, replaced by a deeper sense of peace and confidence. This transformation was not easy, but with the guidance of Stoic philosophy, they found the strength to break free from the chains of their habit. Their story reminds us that, like the Stoics, we all have the power to rise above our desires and create a life of true inner peace and self-control. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you struggled with similar habits? Let's create a community of support and growth together. And if you want to dive deeper into Stoic philosophy, check out the links in the description for resources that can help you on your journey. Thanks for watching, and remember, true freedom comes from within.